Okay, thank you so much for coming to our Rutgers information session. We're very lucky to have with us Ms. Suzanne Schaefer, and she has a new title. It's the Assistant Director of Recruitment for Rutgers University. So she is a great person to answer any questions that you have about Rutgers specifically. If it's just a college application process question, I'm sure she's happy to answer that as well. But she's the guru for Rutgers, so think of really great questions, and thank you so much for coming.
Okay, hi everybody. I know you're going to be multitasking here, so I've got the QR code coming around. That's just my information card. You don't have to do that this second. It's just so that my boss knows that I actually came here and saw people. So it is also helpful for us. If you really want to do the bare minimum, what I really need is your name, your email address, that you're in high school, and if you want to tell us what you're interested in. Everything else you can kind of skip. It's optional in the file. So you can also do that a little later. It'll be open for like 24 hours, so you can definitely do it on your own time. So does everybody have an R, one of these R brochures? No, okay, not in the back. Thank you. All right. So now you're eating lunch, you're filling out the QR code, and I'm going to ask you to do a third thing, which is not only listen to me, but this, I don't know how many of you have been to a college visitor coming to speak this year already? No, somebody came to talk about colleges from anywhere. Here, no? You get, yeah, okay. All right, cool. So I want to know if you guys are willing to do something a little different. Usually people get up and I'm happy to do my little Rutgers spiel, but it's a little bit less engaging. So what I thought we would do is do a slightly different thing, but it involves involvement. You guys have to be interactive with me. So the folks in the back, you're probably going to have to move down because you're going to need to be part of the group. Yes, no, maybe, or you'd rather have me talk to you and be a talking head? Wow. It's not even 8 in the morning. Come on, guys, wake up. I promise I'm not going to put you on the spot. It's a trivia game. It'll be this side of the room versus that side of the room. Does that make you feel better? No, there's no walking around involved. You're just sitting there. All right, good. So what we're going to do is kind of divide you guys down the middle. So front row here, and I don't know, the two guys, Parsippany Soccer, and yeah, you guys are on that side. White sweatshirt, everybody else, you're on this side. Okay? Now what I need you to do is choose one person from each side to be the person who's going to answer the question, but all of you guys are going to get to interact. And just to let you know, I have prizes. All right, who's the representative? You can move, yeah, but you didn't want to move, so I just divided it. Yeah, that's totally fine. Whatever works for you guys. All right, who's the person for this side of the room who's going to answer the question? Are you going to answer? Okay, you might have to put your food down. How about over here? Okay, well, you're going to have to probably move over with your group over here because you're going to have to confer on answers. Okay. So, keeping in mind, I'm here from Rutgers, so these are Rutgers trivia questions. But I'm telling you I have prizes, so let's start. Let me get my stuff. Here's all the questions I have. Let's start Sorry. I'm pretty loud, but I know I have a mask on. Let's start this time, this side. All right, ready? Who's my person? Okay. You can ask your whole team, so everybody gets to answer. This one has an A and B choice. Rutgers is ranked in the A, top 50 public universities in the US, or B, top 20 public universities in the US. I could sing the Jeopardy theme if you want. Do 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 do. I know. Oh, these are my sunglasses, not mine. Okay, answer is top 20. Yes, we are in number 17 among the public universities, and I don't usually start with the ratings. It's just the card that came up first, but it is something people kind of take Rutgers a little bit for granted in state, right? You guys know it's good, but you also know that you don't even realize how people perceive it from the outside. So we wanted to make sure that you understood. There are lots of numbers involved with Rutgers, and I could start spieling off various different statistics, but I think what you want to know is that big numbers sort of mean the big opportunities. So you get, a highly competitive, prestigious university that's right in your backyard. Okay. And there are a lot of, I travel, so my primary territory is out of state. New Jersey, I have this section of New Jersey, but I have the rest of the United States. And there are lots of out-of-state kids. It's frightening. Okay, there are a lot of out-of-state kids who would like to pay the tuition that you'd be paying for Rutgers. All right, this side. Ready? Rutgers is older than what? A, the United States, B, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, or C, the first newspaper? C, the first newspaper. The first newspaper was actually printed in 1631 in France. See, this is a history lesson. You guys didn't know you were coming to history class. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria were what? Anyone? There you go. So we're not that old, but the United States was founded. What year do we say? No, not founded. Started. Not, and we weren't just, yeah, anyway. 1776, anyone? Okay, that sound familiar? So 1766 is when Rutgers was founded. We were actually part of the original 8 colonial colleges. We were originally founded as Queens College. Queens became Rutgers. King's College became Columbia. The other 8 round out with Harvard, William and Mary, Princeton, which was the College of New Jersey, and a few other sorted Ivy Leagues like that. So we are one of the older ones. And do you guys know what else? The first football game was played at Rutgers University. The first collegiate football game, anyway. Okay, so we're back to this side. Rutgers, here's another one. You have to apply knowledge from school. Rutgers has more majors than the number of what? A, U.S. senators, or B, U.S. members of the U.S. House of Representatives. Now this one again, you have to apply the knowledge. How many senators, how many representatives are there? Senators is your answer? That's right. So there are actually 400 and something House of Representatives, anybody in AP Gov? And 100 senators, we know that. And Rutgers has over 100 majors. And the major list is actually on the back of your R. So if you're interested in looking through it, we can talk a little bit about the college division. How many of you are seniors? Raise your hands. Are they all seniors? They have to be? Juniors? Any juniors? Couple. Okay. So when you're applying to Rutgers, and hopefully you've already started your application, you can apply to up to 3 schools. So on the back of the R is a list of the schools that our first-year students can apply to. I'll run through it very quickly. School of Arts and Sciences is our largest school. It's the school that has the first two columns of all the majors. If you're not really sure what you want, you might want to start there. You don't have to choose a major until the end of your sophomore year. The next on the list, I believe, is the School of Business. We have 6 majors in the Rutgers Business School, and a bunch of other areas of concentration. Again, you don't have to choose a major until the end of your sophomore year. School of Engineering has 10 majors. You can tell me what you want to do, but I'll tell you that you're going to be an engineer first, and then you'll take an intro engineering class. After that, you will actually move into your area of engineering at the end of your freshman year. The School of Environmental and Biological Sciences sounds like it's a variation on arts and sciences, but it's really where our macrobiologies are. So animal science, plant science, marine biology, exercise science, and all of our environmental studies programs. Let's see, and then the final list of schools is all of our professional schools. So the School of Nursing, 1 major, nursing. Our nurses come out with 600 clinical hours, so we keep our program very small so we can get them in those clinicals. The Ernest Mario School of Pharmacy is a 6-year PharmD program, so you're admitted and will graduate at the end of 6 years with your PhD in pharmacy, ready to be a practicing pharmacist. And Mason Gross School of the Arts is our arts conservatory. The students there get a BFA or a Bachelor of Music degree, so they spend about 60 to 90% of their time in their art area. Okay, there are also 4 upper division programs that you can't apply to initially: School of Communication, School of Social Work, Public Planning and Policy, and Industrial and Labor Relations. We also have a Graduate School of Education that any students can apply to as juniors, and they'll come out after your 5th year with your master's, your bachelor's, and your teaching certificate. All right, good job. 2 for this side, none for this side. Let's go, guys. All right, ready? What's the most popular major at Rutgers? A, computer science, or B, undecided? Yes, it is undecided. So most of our students don't have to declare a major until the end of their sophomore year. Computer science is increasingly popular. So if anybody's interested in computer science, we actually have computer science areas and degrees in lots of our schools. They're just not necessarily called computer science. So there are lots of ways to decide what major you want. It's a-okay to be undecided at Rutgers. Yeah. So the other thing is that I mentioned you can apply to up to 3 colleges within the university on your application. So if you're not really sure, it is fine. You can apply to arts and sciences. You could apply to the other schools. We don't prioritize. So when you're applying, you want to list the schools that you're interested in. But we don't say, all right, that person listed this one first and that one second and that one third. We're going to go in that order. We actually individually evaluate your application for each school. So undecided is totally fine. Yeah. So that's a great question. I work for Rutgers, New Brunswick. So we're the big flagship state university in the middle of the state. Rutgers Business School actually does run both programs. They are administratively slightly different from the rest of the schools at the university. School of Nursing is also. So Rutgers Business, actually the graduate program used to be only in Newark. It is now both in Newark and New Brunswick. The undergraduate program has always existed in New Brunswick. We have a beautiful new building. Well, it's not even new anymore, but it's a really gorgeous business building. So it's in both campuses. And when I said that you can apply to 3 schools, that does also include the other schools at Rutgers. So you can use the Rutgers application and apply to Camden and Newark at the same time. But we don't do the evaluation for those programs. Okay, this side. True or false? Yeah, 50-50 anyway. All classes at Rutgers have more than 100 students. Right. So, I'm not going to tell you you're going to have small, tiny classes when you're a freshman. You are going to have some big lectures. We have to get a lot of students through biology. There are actually 10 majors on that that have the word biology in them. So we have biology and chemistry and calculus, psychology, some of these big classes. But actually 60% of our classes have under 30 students. So you will not be in all big classes your entire career. It does mean, though, that you're going to have to do a little self-advocacy. So if you're the kind of person who waits to have your teacher come to you and tell you that you're missing assignments, maybe our bigger classes are not going to be for you. But if you're the person who can go and talk to professors and our teachers and you have some engagement with them, you'll be just fine. Okay, over here. When can students get involved in research at Rutgers? Junior year at Rutgers or first semester? Did it get darker? What? First semester. Yes, you are right. So we have a program called the Arresti Research Program. And Arresti actually helps students get involved in research right off the bat. We have a a fair in the beginning of the year, which is a research fair. And for those of you who may not know exactly what you're majoring in, you can actually find out what things are happening in the different areas. So it's a way to walk around. Faculty and graduate students have their information about their research out. So you might be able to say, oh, I thought I wanted to do biochemistry, but maybe I want to do molecular biology because that's what this research is. Or I thought I wanted to do psychology, but this research is in sociology, and that's really what I want to do. So they're not only there to give you some information, but they're there to try to get you involved in that research. And that can happen right off the bat as a freshman. That is a pretty unusual thing because most larger universities prioritize for research their PhD students, then their master's students, then their upperclassmen, and then freshmen, you're washing test tubes. But that's not true at Rutgers. So it's something that's very important to us. Okay, good. And this one's a little tricky. Rutgers, New Brunswick has more student organizations than what? A, muscles in your body, or B, restaurants in New York City? Student organizations, clubs and activities. A, muscles in your body, B, restaurants in New York City. Students' clubs. How many restaurants in New York? There are at least 4. Yes. All right, final answer. You are right. There are thousands of restaurants in New York City. Who knows how many restaurants there are in New York City? On one block, there could be 10. So let me tell you a little bit about the organization. So, by the way, there are 650 plus muscles in the human body, and we have 750 clubs and organizations on campus. So, most admissions people will tell you if you can't find a club or organization at our school, you can start one. And that is true at Rutgers. You can start one. But I will tell you that with 750 clubs and organizations, you might not be looking very hard if you're still trying to find a club. At the beginning of the year, like that Arresti Research Fair that happens sort of mid-semester, we have, and this year it was right before classes started, an involvement fair. And the involvement fair basically takes over College Avenue. They shut the route down, and students, clubs, and organizations stand outside and try to get students involved. It's kind of like a big festival. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to get involved. There are 2 reasons why colleges and universities ask what activities you do in high school. One is because we want to kind of get an idea of what you might want to do when you get to college. But frankly, you might want to try something totally new, and that's fine with us. The second reason we ask, and this might be even more critical, is that we want to understand that you have a good sense of time management. If you have to spend all your time studying and doing your homework, we know your classes are hard. We know that. But when you get to college, your classes are going to be hard. And there are so many great clubs and organizations and so many distractions when you get to college that we want to know that you're going to be able to manage this, that you've already had some practice balancing your activities and your tough classes. So that's why we all are interested. All right, back over here. Rutgers is a member of which conference? A, the Big East, or B, the Big Ten? All right, Big Ten, yes. So I think we're getting a little more PR on this lately. Um, the Big Ten is our athletic conference. It's also an academic alliance. You can actually study abroad with any of the schools in the Big Ten study abroad programs. So there might be a study abroad question here. I don't want to give too much away. But anyway, there's a lot of study abroad opportunities. Athletic conference. We are the last of the Big Ten schools to give students free tickets to sporting events. The sports section or the student section in the stadium is unbelievable. If you're looking for a big spirited school that's near a major metropolitan area, Rutgers should be on your list. The school spirit for basketball games too. You can't even get basketball games. They're almost all sold out right now. I'm trying to get tickets for one game, and they just opened their ticket sales. They're phenomenal. And the rack, it just rocks. So yes, we have opportunities. There are 24 D1 Big Ten sports, but we also have intramural sports and club sports for those of you who are not D1 sport athletes. And each of the neighborhood campuses that I'll talk about in a sec has its own fitness center and its own fields and things like that. So you can get involved at all kinds of levels or just be a spectator at a very exciting game. This weekend, the team is playing Michigan State. Stay tuned. The football team, that is. Okay, over here. Which of the following venues are not available on campus? A, a movie theater. B, a classic New Jersey diner. C, a monster truck course. Or D, a geology museum. I don't think she even heard the question. It is C. It would be cool if there was a monster truck course. um, so we do have the other things. We have a cinema. We have the oldest geology museum, and we have a diner on campus. We don't have a monster truck course, but honestly, there's enough room. So if we wanted to add one, we probably could. All right. Over here, this is a little bit of a tough one. Last year, the top hiring employer of Rutgers students was what company? You're on this side. Tell them. Lockheed Martin. No. Here's your hint. No. Couple guesses here. It's the name of a rainforest. There you go. All right. So Amazon was the biggest employer of our students at least a couple years ago. Other big employers are Johnson & Johnson, J.P. Morgan, L'Oreal, Lockheed Martin. I mean, they go on and on. And I think one of the things that's important to realize is that students do internships throughout their 4 years at Rutgers. It's another thing that's very important to us. And internships happen during the year, during the summer, and then we do placement after graduate school or after graduating. Internships don't have to be like you drive to them. You can take the train. We have a train station right on our campus, and in 45 minutes you can be in New York City. So we have a Road to Wall Street program in our business school. We have a number of internships for our fine arts students, but students also can get internships like Johnson & Johnson is surrounded by our campus. All right, over here. Which was the following was invented at Rutgers? The Impossible Meatless Burger, A. B, the tuberculosis antibiotic streptomycin. C, a drone that can fly and swim. And D, all of the above. It is D. So the Impossible Burger was invented at Rutgers. Isn't that cool? What's the Impossible Burger? They might have to start serving them in the cafeteria. It is a plant-based protein that mimics a hamburger, and it is. It's made out of plants, but they're so close that my daughter, who doesn't eat meat, won't eat them because she thinks they taste too much like burgers. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of research that leads to a lot of accomplishments. I mean, the Impossible Burger isn't changing the world, but the antibiotics like for strep or tuberculosis are certainly something that's important. Okay. Oh, I need to pull one more. All right, ready on this side? This is a gimme. Rutgers is closest to which two major cities? Not even gonna give you choices. What two major cities are we close to? Come on, you live in state. Yeah, there you go. Yes. So I mentioned the train station on our campus. There's no train station in Parsippany, right? What's the closest train station? Yeah. So at the train station, which is right behind the bookstore, you can actually take the train 45 minutes into New York, but 90 minutes you can be in Philadelphia. So we're also a Philly station on Amtrak. Okay, so that's the end of my trivia. I think this side won. I'm sorry about that, guys, over here. But so see me afterward to my spokesperson, and I'll give you a prize. But I wanted to just touch on two other things. One is the way that the Rutgers campus is set up. How many of you have been to campus? Oh, okay. So we are. That's what I'm going to talk about. So you were there. Okay. So sorry, I didn't hear you. Please come. We are offering tours now. We have walking tours of some of our neighborhoods, and I'll tell you about those. And then we also are starting back our bus tours. So you can come to campus, especially if you're a senior. We want you to come see it. And Rutgers is not exactly laid out in the way a lot of other schools are. So what we have in New Brunswick is 4 neighborhood campuses. And this could clarify some things, because every once in a while you hear something about, the football team playing in Piscataway. Well, what's Rutgers Piscataway? We have a river that runs through the middle of the campus, the Raritan. It kind of flooded a little bit ago from Ida, and maybe you saw the pictures of the river right up against the stadium. It was quite something. We had to postpone a football game. So the river runs through the middle of the campus. On one side is New Brunswick, on the other side is Piscataway. We have 4 neighborhood campuses. 2 are on one side of the river and 2 are on the other. These neighborhoods help the school make it feel a little bit smaller, because you're never really dealing with 36,000 undergraduates. You're dealing with the students on your neighborhood campus. You are not locked into that neighborhood campus. You actually will have classes on all of the campuses. You can choose to live on one. You could eat dinner on another. You can move around. So the neighborhood campuses, just to give you a quick glimpse, Bush campus is one. That's where you probably would start if you came to campus. It's where our visitor center is. It's where our stadium is if you've ever come to a game. It is also where our STEM programs are. So engineering, pharmacy, the medical school is actually there too, and our new chemistry building. So any of you guys who have interest in science, you will find yourself on Bush campus at some point. Right just down the road, where you can actually walk, although most of the students I see on the new scooters that they rent and leave randomly in the middle of sidewalks, is Livingston Campus. That's where the School of Business is headquartered. It's also where the RAC is, where the basketball and wrestling team play. It's a lot of upper class housing, actually. Livingston used to be kind of shabby underclass housing, and they knocked it all down and put in big apartment buildings, and now everybody wants to live there. It's also where our Starbucks is. On the other side of the river, you get to College Avenue. Oh, and by the way, Livingston and Bush are the 2 biggest physically. So Bush campus has an 18-hole golf course in addition to all of our athletic facilities and the campus buildings. And Livingston has a huge acreage eco preserve. So it's not something that you necessarily find yourself in all the time, but there's a lot of space. On College Avenue is the smallest of our campuses, but the most densely packed. It's right downtown New Brunswick. You get a chance to sort of experience town. That's where the train station is. If you're in arts and sciences, that's where you're going to find your classes for the most part. And so, students can walk to the restaurants and shops in New Brunswick. And then just down the street from College Avenue is the Cook Douglas campus. And you feel a little like whiplash, because you get onto Cook Douglas and suddenly there's a working farm. So if you needed to go and hang out with the cows and horses just because you need a break from people, that's available to you. Douglas was actually a former women's college. It's really nice because we women take care of things. So it feels a little more suburban. So whatever your feel is, the kind of vibe that you want, you can find it at Rutgers. You get to choose which campus you would like to live on initially freshman year, and then from there on too. We have room on campus for 18,000 students. So we are housing many, many of our students. People usually ask me, do freshmen have to live on campus? We don't have a requirement, but 98% of our students do. Might be a little down this year because of COVID, but traditionally we are a residential campus. The other 18,000 of our students generally live right in New Brunswick. They're living in off-campus housing, that some of which is closer than on-campus housing. So that's one thing I wanted to explain, and come and take the bus tour because it'll show you all the different campuses. The second thing that I wanted to mention is our application. So in the middle of your R, it has some dates and deadlines. Our early action deadline, it's down on the bottom of one of the R feet. Our early action deadline is November 1st. So as long, if you apply by November 1st, we'll let you know earlier in the process. Our regular decision deadline is December 1st. That is pretty early, so just hear me, December 1. If you apply by December 1st, you'll automatically be considered for honors and scholarships. If you apply December 2nd, your application will be reviewed as based on space. So we'll still accept it, but it's based on space. It means don't go until after the 1st of December to apply. So we'll fill up the rest of this, we'll consider other applicants before yours. There is no reason, because we don't ask for anything from the school. And please don't wait till the 31st of October or the 30th of November either. So just make sure you're on time. We don't ask for any school materials. Everything is in your control. You can apply and fill out the self-reported academic record and submit it all by December 1st. If you have any questions, my information's in Naviance. Got more R's up here, so help yourself. And thank you. You're welcome.